Hello, Star Wars fans. You know, there are just 37 days until Christmas 2022. It's coming right up 37 days before of shopping left. And so if you haven't started, it might be a good time to start. You guys, we've got my friends Jason and Meg with me today. Hello.
Hello.
It just came up. All right. Hey, there's some breaking news. Jason kind of gave me a heads up on this. And I don't see it yet, Jason. I hit refresh.
Is it a trailer for Indiana Jones?
Right now, I think it's just a cover, but I'm not sure if there's anything. I'm trying to look at the article to see if it has like the title or anything in it. It might just be a cover of Indiana Jones.
I see it now. All right, so let me share my screen just so folks can see. I know we're not an Indiana Jones channel, but it's still
Lucasfilm.
It's still Lucasfilm, right? So we can.
Yeah, it's the only IP that they have now. Just Indiana Jones and Star Wars. There is nothing else.
Willow.
No, just Indiana Jones and Star Wars. That's all there is now, unfortunately.
Jason wasn't a fan of Willow.
Jason's feeling a little grumpy. That's okay.
I loved it. I loved it.
Yeah, they should have just made it something new, and then it would have been fine.
Meg, you were able to go to the screening there in London to see what the first 2 episodes. Is that right?
2 episodes, yeah.
And,
I wasn't into Willow before. I didn't really know about it, but I saw the original film the night before the screener, and I really had a good time. I like it. I'm sorry, Jason. It breaks my heart because I know Jason's a huge Willow fan from back in the day. So,
my example I always give is like, imagine if Boba Fett crawled out of the Sarlacc while Enter Sandman started playing. Like if that moment happened and that's what was happening on screen, because that's what happens with Willow. And waited since I was about 8 years old for this, and then they did that. I was like, why did you do that? Why did you do that? It's a hard one, but the first 2, you saw the first 2 at the screening, right? Yeah, the first 2, not in the thick of it yet. It's
episode 2's ending was really exciting.
Yeah. No, I was still on board at that point. At that point, I'm like,
oh, okay.
It's Willow time. Yeah, at that
point,
there's
worse to come.
Oh yeah.
But now we've been chatting about this for several days. But your at least what I take away, one of your major complaints about Willow is the music.
Mm-hmm.
The soundtrack.
Yeah,
kind of throws you off.
Am I allowed to say this, Jason? But the end of the episodes. Actually, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this. I might just DM you.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, I mean, I'll say it. The end of the episodes have like music over the credits.
She-Hulk.
And what they slowly do as it goes on is the music begins to bleed from the credits into the end of the episodes, and then eventually it's in the middle of the episodes. Then eventually it's just, like I said, wasn't joking when I said they gave up James Horner for James Hetfield. They literally do that, and so it is what it is. But I was got my Indiana Jones, and he ain't getting any younger. And neither am I.
Now the Willow story itself, it's up and down, or it's also trash.
Once again,
for you,
I can't say anything about. I can't talk about it because of the NDA. But like imagine you have a moment you really enjoy. Luke, I am your father. Imagine that moment happens, and then 1 minute later, in the aftermath of that moment, like Lady Gaga starts playing, and they're dancing to it.
So you're back to the show. Yeah, you're back to the soundtrack.
They won't.
Being your major complaint.
Yes, it literally steps all over it, and you can't look past it. You can't. It breaks immersion. It kills the world. It kills the vibe of the original film. I'm now hearing, and also not only am I critiquing the fact that this was a colossally bad choice, but also that the cover sucks compared to the original that I've been also hearing for like 30 years of whatever the song happens to be.
Gotcha.
And it's a Disney radio version usually. There's a couple of originals. Mostly it's some crappy Disney produced version of a hit song that you all know really well, not performed as well by a Disney Channel actor with a bunch of auto-tune. And it's just bad. Just bad. Just no.
Well,
But the actual, if I just told you the story of it, like the story is good. The story's good.
okay.
That's
All right.
what sucks. That's what sucks.
Well, we'll all be able to watch it very soon.
Sorry, Meg.
And we'll see. Again, like this starts to get into what kind of fan are you? What are the things that drew you in? Are you casual? Are you somebody who has been a Willow fan since the very beginning? Is it something that you have fond memories of, or just slight memories of? All of those kind of things play into how we receive new content. And the same things happen in Star Wars. And we've got this
not like
Indiana
this.
Jones.
Not like this.
Story,
You can't say
right?
that. It's not like this. No, like this. No, I'm kidding. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's all right. Hey, we've got this interview just posted 7 minutes ago. This is the first one here featuring Indiana Jones 5. The Empire kind of gets the ball rolling.
Sorry, Bespin said something that I've seen reflected in a couple of other reviews. And I'm kind of surprised that this take exists, because Warwick Davis is just what he is in terms of his acting performance. Like, he's been in so much and he's very talented, but I've never put him up there as like one of the greatest actors of all time. In my opinion, he's exactly what you'd expect in this series. I don't really see a difference between the original and this.
When we could talk about like specifics about the thing, I don't remember if it was in the second or the third episode. There's this moment when he says this line, and it is easily the worst line Warwick Davis has ever read out loud. And he's reading off of a cue card. He can't even make the other actor's eye line to do it. It looks like a rehearsal was used as a take in it. I watched the part like 4 or 5 times now because I could not believe how bad that part was. I used up all my views on the screener looking at it, and I can tell you, like, he was better in the role as an 18-year-old. And the big difference is, which actually Bespin pointed out to me, is in the original film, he's the straight man. In this one, he thinks he's funny. And that's
I thought he was funny. I thought him and Amar Chadha Patel, who plays Borman.
Oh, he's great.
He was excellent.
He's excellent. He's the best thing about the show, like hands down, like easily the best thing.
Let me interject. You guys are great.
Sorry,
but we kind of got to drag back to where we're headed. And I bring up, Adam mentioned he hasn't seen Willow yet, the original. That's available to watch, and I think this weekend, Kathy and I are going to watch it. We're going to get caught up. It's been so long.
You guys haven't seen it since it came out, basically?
It's not, but yeah, it's been decades. I mean, it's been forever. We have. Yeah. I watched it back then, and that's it. I didn't watch it. I've not seen it since. Right. So it's been a really, really long time. A very little memory of it. So I'm almost like Adam, where if I had to recall and was asked questions about Willow, I'm out. I can't. So, and I was never a huge Willow, fan. It's just something that existed and moved on. So I am curious to see, as we get into this series, if it takes someone like me out, or Meg, for instance, is the show.
Well, you won't know for another month or so.
Yeah,
it's a slow integration of, you know what I mean. So
right. So we do have this Empire Magazine article on Indiana Jones 5. We mentioned there's some additional kind of things coming out today regarding Indiana Jones 5. The press push is beginning. Empire's the first out, but then as it goes, we're going to get posters. We're going to get some additional stories And so look for that. This is the first of it. We're not going to spend a lot of time talking about it, but just kind of direct your all's attention to Empire Magazine. Empire's got this first.
I'm not seeing anything in the article other than the covers. The covers seem to be like kind of the meat. Everyone's like, Indy's back, Blockbuster, this, the hat. You know what I mean? Like, it's been this long. I think it's just one of those pieces.
Yeah, there's something about Crystal Skull's been hiding. I've seen Crystal Skull playing on those cable channels on the weekend. Just some random.
Yeah, that's just stupid. It's batched with all of the other three. That's just some stupid stuff that they make up because they decided to like. I don't see Crystal Skull when I look at it. It's like it's right there. When you bought the box set in 4K 6 months ago, it was right there with it. Stupid.
So this says. This says in a major world exclusive, the new issue of Empire presents your first dive into the fifth. And yet still untitled Indiana Jones film, bringing back Ford, but teaming with new director. Inside, you'll find a very first look at the top secret film has in store with a deluge of exclusive images, as well as the first interviews with Ford, and so on and so forth. So this isn't that. This is advertising that. Mm-hmm. So once this issue drops, there'll be some exclusive photos. There'll be more coming out, but there you go. You get the cover of the magazine. You get this. And again, this is Empire Magazine. Maybe an alternate cover or something like that. So
I think that is that concept art for a cover, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Like New York City. Here, a fun fact: Columbus, Ohio, has a smaller version of the Empire State Building. It's very much was meant to be a homage to the Empire State Building. It has the same design, so maybe this is Columbus. No, it's not. It's New York. Anyway,
I think they filmed it in Scotland. I think they filmed in Scotland to make 1960s New York. I think that's how.
Well, I had to throw the Columbus, Ohio reference in there because Dominic's in the chat. He's wanting to make a bet on the Ohio State-Michigan game. In some sort of embarrassment for Santa if Ohio State loses again 2 years in a row on our home field. So that's just not going to happen, Dominic. So we'll have to come up with something. We'll work it out in Discord. So people aren't here to talk about Willow. We're not here to talk about Indiana Jones. We're here to talk about Star Wars. So let's see if we can get on point. There are several bits of information coming out. I want to lead with a little bit of a promo for coming up in London 2023 on Easter Sunday. There's going to be an event. This is Cantina.
Is Jesus coming back?
It's maybe not, but at the same time, you might get to meet some of our friends there. Darth Elvis is maybe in the building. Mark maybe on stage. And if they can manage to get Meg to come and visit, that'd be
Mark Hamill.
Mark Hamilton.
Well, who cares now? I mean,
Right.
no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
And I think our friend Zuvium may be hanging around. There's going to be lots of folks there that we know, and
now is it Cantina
time.
too, or is it Cantina too?
Good question. I think it's just Cantina too. But you make a good point. I mean, it is on there 4 times.
The quad Tina.
Yeah, the quad Tina. Yeah. So it should be tons of fun. Watch for more information coming on that, the more specifics. And if you're going to be able to be in London on Easter Sunday and you're not hanging out with your family doing Easter Sunday things, you should be doing this.
And little tease, I hear that they're going to have a hologram of Tupac with a hologram of Palpatine doing some sort of number together. Yeah.
Dominic, you got a deal. There you go. There's the deal. We lose, I'll have to put the U of M logo back here, featured prominently for a week. That would be painful, terrible for Santa. But we'll have to come up with an equally embarrassing thing for you when Michigan loses.
Turn it upside down. Make it a W. Make it a willow. Make it a willow logo.
Very good. Matt Risman, will Force Ghost Mara be at this Cantina event? You'll have to wait for more information.
Well, I've heard that Palpatine and Boba Fett will appear at this event because they're just as inappropriately placed as supposedly the Andor finale.
Of course.
I'm not, you know.
I mean,
dissing
how could you do anything with Star Wars if you don't have Palpatine and Boba featured, at least as cameos coming up? I do know
Star Wars Legends, man. If you call it fan service, I call it just the characters of Star Wars, bro.
If you are able to go, I will say, of high likelihood you'll get to see Darth Elvis, and that might be as close to fan service as you get, right there. Darth Elvis and his concerts are fantastic. If you've not seen any of them, he's got some recordings on his YouTube channel. You should go check it out. It's
about room service. Can we get room service?
Tons of fun. So we'll look for that. There's some other stuff in the last, Dominic. He was speculating. I watched the video. Meg shared it with us this morning, so I went and watched it.
I can increase my views if I start making videos like that. Ayla Secura in Andor season 2.
Well, I don't want to touch on a sore topic, but there's been some rumored cameos that we were hoping to see this season that we have had kind of thrown some cold water on. Right? Our friend Jason loves to throw cold water on.
No, I don't.
Yeah, you do.
I like getting a hot jacuzzi. Darth Elvis showing up with room service.
There you go, Matt Risman. Hope Grievous is in there. You know, that'd be great to do this.
Some say he should have his own show.
Well, they could throw him in the finale so that they could do the spin-off on out of Andor for the General Grievous show.
I wake up every day to a sunrise I will never see. I'm like, what? What are you talking about, Grievous? What is this? Why is Tony Gilroy writing Grievous?
Dominic, somehow Yaddle returns. It's just no. We talked about this a little earlier during the season. Cameos don't really exist in this series, and Gilroy kind of set that up. Like when characters show up, they show up there because they belong. It's part of the story. They're moving the story forward. They're not just thrown in to, get somebody excited. Because look, there's Boba Fett. That's just not happening. Although I think, Meg, you did see there are a couple of cameos of another character less known.
Is that Morloff from
Yes.
Rogue One? Yeah, I can't believe I never spotted him. He was in 2 episodes on Segra Milo. On the bottom right-hand side, he's just guarding the base. He's the white Wookiee-looking guy.
Yeah.
They keep him outside because he doesn't know how to use the bathroom.
He's not crate trained either.
Not crate trained.
No.
So he's
That's
never
a good
on.
one.
Too salty.
Jason doesn't know what crate is because he's not a sequel trilogy shill.
Oh. Wait, that's the first time I've ever heard that, actually. That I'm not a sequel trilogy shill.
This is kind of related, but I had the weirdest dream the other night that a bunch of Vulptexes, those crystal foxes from The Last Jedi, just jumped on me, and I haven't thought about them in years.
Are they?
They started attacking me.
Are they kind of pointy and uncomfortable when they're trying to snuggle? You're like, now give me a little space.
I'm just gonna let you sit with the words you just used. Yeah, I mean, sometimes you're snuggling and you feel something pointy and uncomfortable.
Right.
But if you give it a helping hand, it might go away.
No, I'm just going to stop. I'm going to stop because that could keep going. We'll just kind of let it go. Just let it go. So there's been a few other things come out this past week that are worth at least touching base on. We're doing a weekend review kind of thing.
Yeah.
There have been several things come out that aren't like Star Wars centric. Well, they are Star Wars centric, but they're not canon. The first is this Ghibli Studios Grogu and the Dust Bunnies, featured on Disney Plus. Fun little bit of ZENimation, right? And we got to call out our friend Bestman Bulletin. I like to go to Bestman Bulletin to get kind of summaries of a lot of things. And not only that, but he comes up with some exclusives. He comes up with some leaks when Jason lets him out of the walls of his house. You know, it lets him get some fresh air and sunshine.
You're a good boy, Bestman. Yes, sir. Run the seat, sir. You know, you're okay. Stay in there. It's okay. He thinks we're under siege, and that's where he keeps him.
But no, Bestman Bulletin, this is Bestman's coverage of it, but it is Grogu and the Dust Bunnies. It was a little ZENimation film.
It looks like a back tattoo of someone with freckles, doesn't it?
Yeah, it reminds me of a bunny rabbit.
It's actually Meg's back tattoo.
Oh,
That's her tramp stamp right there.
That's Meg's tramp stamp.
I actually don't have any tattoos.
I mean, except for this one.
Except for this one, of course.
Yeah,
This is literally my back. I can't explain to you the texture, but
it was a hot brand. It wasn't a tattoo. She's weird.
Grogu trans.
Oh, that's hilarious. No, it was a fun little animated bit. You guys enjoy it?
It's cute, you know.
It's cute,
not
yeah.
notable. I'll probably never watch it again in my life ever. I don't think. I watched it with the kids. The kids didn't care either, so I just feel like really, from my perspective, nobody cares.
Yeah, it's just a silly little. Well, I mean, it does have a little message to it.
Mm-hmm.
You're making friends with people that make you uncomfortable, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
it's fine. It's fine.
Sure.
That's basically all I've got on the end. And then followed by this Lifeday LoFi. There's an hour of LoFi music where you get a look at this image. Right, it
Star
never
Wars
changes.
was trying to copy my second channel.
Yeah, they were. Poorly, if I might add.
Yeah, you have a little animation in there, the wind blowing, and like Chewbacca's kind of just hanging out there with the glowy orb.
I think
Speaking
Chewbacca's
of lo-fi.
Chewbacca's defecating in the woods in this picture. There's nobody sits like that. Looks like a little hill. He's just going. Yeah, I guess Wookiee's got to go too.
Yeah, Wookiees using the toilet isn't something I've never thought about in my entire life until this moment.
Not until right now. Yeah, exactly.
Well, where do you think those blue orbs come from? That's what Wookiee. That's what it looks like.
It was probably inspired from that scene when Meg went by the set
Shinfeld?
of
Shinfeld
yeah,
Studios?
Shinfeld. Yeah, when she's going by Shinfeld, they're like, "Oh, I got an idea. What if we were to have a Wookiee?" No,
I'm never going to live that down, am I?
never, ever. Was hilarious.
Fun fact, that is taken at Shinfield Studios, this lo-fi animation, and that's not a lake.
Oh,
it's not like what? Good to know. Good to know. There you go. And then lastly, there's this little sandcastles with Grogu. This is only on StarWarsKids.com. So if you go to your web browser, go to StarWarsKids.com. This is actually really, really cute. I let a little bit of it play. Let me mute it here.
I didn't even heard about this.
Yeah, this it was in there. Look, he's got a little sandcastle. It falls apart. So this keeps happening. He keeps building different things. They fall apart, and just hanging out there in the desert.
They really rely on this a lot, don't they? Like, oh, wouldn't it be funny if the Star Wars character was just putting his feet up on the beach with the umbrella thing? Like they do that.
Well,
a lot.
I mean, for this year, right?
Yeah,
That's what they're.
enough.
Oh, we got a little R2D2. Yay, happy. So it's a fun little video, and yeah, he makes different sandcastle things, and they all fall apart. It's just fun.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
Did a little WWE action there on the
Little Goku.
Stormtrooper helmet. We got a big Lego. Yeah, it's good. Oh look. Oh no. So anyway, just a fun little Lego video. This was I thought we were going to get a little Wrath of Khan, but no, Grogu ate it. So, all little fun things, right? These aren't necessarily.
They should have put him in Padme's room when those what are they called? Coon? Something like that. Go to kill Padme in Attack of the Clones.
yeah.
Yeah.
He would have been a good little like critter to have in there.
Yeah.
Assassination attempt.
By the way, Jason, how did Anakin not slice off Padme's face when he runs in to kill those things?
Yeah, the lightsaber is actually too long. She made it longer for him.
That makes sense.
How's it at least not just leave a little sunburn? That close to your face.
You know what keeps coming up? Even Baymax brought it up to me too. He's like, when does the Revenge of the Sith Death Star moment take place? Because context of what's going on with the Andor series and Rogue One and stuff. Like it's really confusing. And like originally that was the last shot in Revenge of the Sith. And then that was supposed to be, but it worked better in the edit, not being the very, very final shot, having the final shot be the homestead instead, moving from there.
Mhm.
So they swapped them. So now it's just super confusing. But originally the idea was that was some time out.
I also felt the same way because timeline-wise, it doesn't make sense that it'd be that complete.
Yeah.
And because now it's, if I remember correctly, Vader and Palpatine, then Alderaan, then Tatooine.
Right. So you just have to kind of roll with it. The edit changed. Lucas was just taking poetic license in that moment. And so you got to flash forward and then you go back in Revenge of the Sith. And I was saying yesterday, in my head, sure, they have like the skeletal. I mean, the actual like skeletal frame of the Death Star doesn't even necessarily add up with what we get in Rogue One and what we see in the various like materials from the Rogue One stuff either. So let's just go with the idea they built a lot and had to take a lot apart. Like when you're putting a Lego set together and you miss something really important, you got to take the whole thing apart to get back. Let's just pretend that happened a lot.
There's been some discussion about how many Death Stars were built and how many were being built at the same time. Back in the day, George Lucas actually canonized the Death Star 3 as being part of the Disney parks experience because
it's not canon.
Star
Tours isn't canon.
Star Tours, they
Tours isn't canon.
brought it up. They brought it up.
Still not canon though.
There's an interview.
Tarpools is alive in Star Tours and he's dead.
Look, there's an interview. You can find it.
But it's wrong. Still wrong. It would still be wrong. Yeah.
If there are 3 of them being built at the same time, or 5, or
Star Tours 1 wasn't canon, and then never actually made sense, and then Star Tours 2 puts it back in, and then but still, it's like I think even the Star Tours 2 one is the Death Star 2, wasn't it? I can't remember now. Actually, I could be wrong about that, but I think it was the Death Star 2 in Star Tours, which would make it Death Star 3, which
right
doesn't make sense.
Look it up. Look it up. You can find Death Star 3 is
they're,
a thing.
But they're wrong.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe you're actually seeing the build of a different Death Star, not the Death Star you think they're building.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't know about that.
That's not true. That isn't accurate either. There's no. It's all referencing the first Death Star from A New Hope. Everything is. I am with you though. I mean, I am with you. Like when they didn't just make an atomic bomb and well, we did it. They kept making them, and they would keep making them. They got to a Death Star 3. They made it even bigger, which somehow means it's even better. I don't know why, but it does. But I think that in terms of the actual story, there's only 2 Death Stars. They did one. The first one, they solved all the problems. They went to make the second one. When they made the second one, they made the laser work first because they weren't dumb. It was actually the smartest thing that they did. Tricked them. That thing was operational. So,
Well, and see, Dominic, it works if they had already were building, right? You're already got 2.5 built, different stages of construction on multiple ones at the same time. By the time the first one blows up, the other ones are already still like mid-production, and perhaps it's a fully operational weapon. And who knows?
and Palpatine, I mean, if you want to, you can criticize it all you want. It's fair game. But Palpatine is literally going, you can have the Death Star. I'm going to get a Luke Skywalker. It's like that kid in Game of Thrones who loses his eye and gets a dragon. That's kind of what Palpatine's doing in that one. He's risking the whole thing for all of it. It's a big play by Palpatine, and it doesn't work out because he doesn't get that Anakin's going to love his son. So oops. But if that calculation, if he was right there about Darth Vader really being Darth Vader and Anakin being dead, he would have had it all right then. He would have killed Luke, or had Luke killed Vader, lost a Death Star, but they would have just built a bunch of more, and he would, a Luke is more important than a Death Star any day. So I get where Palpatine was coming from.
Well, yeah.
You get where Palpatine is coming from.
I get it. I get him. I understand him.
Yeah,
he used to be my favorite character, and then the new shows came out, and now I don't like him anymore. I liked him pre-Kenobi and pre-Tales. No, he's just more of a dick than he needs to be.
Wait, and you had a problem with Kenobi Palpatine? Like,
yeah,
I thought that was pretty inconsequential. What was it? What was it that like messed with you?
The Yaddle thing.
Oh, Yaddle.
Oh,
okay. I thought you meant in the Kenobi series. I was like, he's kind of just.
Oh no, just one example. He was fine in Kenobi, but just, I guess, pre-Tales of the Jedi. Then.
Mm-hmm. Wait, because he killed Yaddle, or? Yeah,
it hit me pretty hard.
Yeah, you have to be honest with you, Meg. He'd kill everyone. He's that guy.
I thought he was really cool in the prequel trilogy. He's just full of memes.
Well, there's that. But you start to see where he has Plan B, and then he's got a Plan B to Plan B, right? And that really becomes an essential part of the post-original trilogy era, right?
Well, here's the thing with Palpatine, and this is going to be very toxic of me to say, so I'm sorry if Santa melts away for a bit after I say it, but
say it.
I genuinely believe what Dominic is saying. Lucasfilm ruined Palpatine, and they also ruined Obi-Wan.
What?
Like, if they ruined any two characters, they ruined him in Rise of Skywalker.
Well, I will say the execution of Palpatine in the sequels is underdeveloped, but it doesn't ruin him for me. Only because if you go and you read Aftermath and you read some of the stuff that are now legends, Palpatine came back and he came back and he came back, like different times, different books and different.
Yeah, but in Legends
stories.
in Legends it was quite cool because it was, things that work in comic books and novels don't always work on the big screen. And like when Rey was like, "I'm all the Jedi," and then you see part of his hair fall off and his skeleton, it just felt like, directed by whoever every Marvel thing is directed by.
Maybe.
And it's and I have the same gripe with the Clone Wars. They ruined Kit Fisto and Aayla Secura. They made them talk. One had a French accent. One loved to show off his abs.
Ooh.
I preferred it when he was just the background character who got killed by Palpatine. I know these are very weird gripes and they don't always make sense, but that's
your gripes, Meg. You could have them. You're
so
entitled.
someone said how Palpatine's always been a space devil, but he just crossed a line for me now. I saw Palpatine differently before all of this stuff. I mean, we know he's a dick, but he was a cool dick. He was the dick that, okay, I should choose my words wisely, shot out blue stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I always saw him as being an evil mastermind, as a really, really evil dude. And that, as I was mentioning, like, not only did he have multiple Death Stars being in the works at the same time, he had contingency plan, and it becomes part of Operation Cinder.
Cinder. Yeah.
And
Not to be confused with Operation Sindel, which is the most adorable operation in all of the galaxy.
Cinder is sort of like burn it down to rebuild it. And he already had the contingency plan in the works. He already had things being built. So he had part of what you see through the prequels and the original trilogy, even in the prequels, where you've got this kind of weird overlap with Maul and Dooku and the other dude, like what's like who all is there's only supposed to be two, a master and an apprentice.
I think Santa's malfunctioning.
Yeah,
I am. I'm trying to get back to
his batteries.
No, there's a weird bit, like was Maul and Dooku, were they in the works at the same time or not?
Yeah,
and it depends where you.
He was manipulating Dooku while Maul was doing what he was doing,
and he was grooming Anakin while he was still had Dooku, and like all of that's kind of overlapping. Plan B, right?
Because it's like if you are worthy, whatever I'm sending at you, you're going to be able to a defeat, because someday you have to defeat me.
Yeah.
So the crap I'm sending at you that I think is a possible candidate, you have to beat. It's a runoff continually until you get it right.
When you try to piece everything together and say it out loud, it makes sense. But in the context of actually just seeing it and let the art speak for itself, for me, it doesn't. It's not coherent. Because I kind of liked Two-Face Palpatine in the prequel trilogy, and I liked that the original trilogy, well, Return of the Jedi, was the culmination of his pure evil. And I kind of feel, and I don't mind Operation Cinder, I don't mind what they're doing with the Mandalorian, I quite enjoy it. But the execution of what they did in Episode 9 for me didn't make much sense. And I think Ian McDermott even talked about the dialogue being altered because it was just too wordy. When he's talking to Rey on Exegol, and he's like, your friends are all going to die, blah, blah, blah. Like similar to what he said in Return of the Jedi. It sounded more like they wrote out a Shakespearean play than they actually thought through what Palpatine might say in that moment. He's like, take the throne, strike me down. Well, yeah, it didn't hit the right notes.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was kind of mentioning.
But don't let the end ruin the whole thing for you. Like, I love Rocky 1, but I can't let Rocky, like the silliness of Rocky 4 ruin Rocky 1 for me. It's kind of got to go, like, got to compartmentalize. I lived through the Rocky movies as a kid, so I was able. I come equipped with such a skill. I still like the Willow film.
Sifo Dyas is the one I was trying to remember. Like, he's manipulating Sifo Dyas to start the clone armies, and I mean, it's just a whole, like, he had multiple layers of things going on at the same time. And
Dooku stole his social security number. You see that? He did. Dooku, he's one of them, man. He's one of them.
Yeah.
I saw Dominic mention Ahsoka in the chat. He said if they kill Ahsoka, he'll be devastated. I've got a controversial take. I could take her or leave her. I mean, she was excellent in The Mandalorian. I think Rosario is fantastic as Ahsoka. And she made me really care about the character, because I was never a Clone Wars fan. And in Rebels, she plays quite a minor role. But she was still very good in Rebels. I think it's an American versus English thing. I feel like she speaks to Americans because she sounds like I can't explain it. This is going to make no sense. But she's not built for my British sensibilities to watch her for very long on screen.
She's built for my sensibilities.
I mean, when she was a kid, when she was a Padawan in the Clone Wars.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant Rosario Dawson.
No, Rosario I could watch all day.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to get too derailed.
You've got me and Jason on Santa.
Yeah, you messed up.
I know. I'm like, what? Let me try to reel back to where I was going with the whole Operation Cinder and all of that, and your comment about the execution of Palpatine in Rise of Skywalker. I 100% agree that the execution of Palpatine in the sequels fell short. In the huge mistake is trying to save the reveal until Rise. There was little hints of Palpatine in The Force Awakens with
It was
what
very
Snoke was
Palpatine-ish.
saying.
It was all Plan B stuff.
Well, I think
it was a bunch of Plan
I
B.
don't think that hinted at Palpatine at all. When Snoke was like, "I've watched the rise of the Empire," I thought he was genuinely going to be like some ex-Imperial agent who went crazy or something.
well,
I
think they,
had a friend though who was a journalist who was there for all of the Force Awakens stuff. Not all of it, but a lot of it, right? And this person goes there at one point, and JJ is like, "I'm really favoring she's a Kenobi," and then they go back, and then he's like, JJ's like, "I'm really favoring like the Palpatine kind of idea," and it's like talking to him, and so it's all there. Everything is in there. Everything is in there just in case.
well, and it's in the Aftermath novels.
Mm-hmm.
It's absolutely in there, and
Yeah.
you can see where he's setting up his contingency plan to come back. And so they're setting it up, even with his death, that he was going to rise again. So, like, all of that was kind of outlined in there, but I think trying to hide it was the mistake. Like, hiding that Palpatine was still alive was the huge mistake. They could have had it more in the open instead of kind of hinted at in The Force Awakens with Snoke's, like, "I've been there since." Had they kind of redone that where Palpatine's pulling the strings more directly.
A man behind the curtain, Wizard of Oz reveal at the end.
more directly,
Palpatine
right
would have
then.
been good.
Right? That could have worked a lot better. And then we as an audience know that he's there, and you can see that the characters in this show, right? Rey and Poe and all, they have no clue.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're kind of in on it, and we can see that tension building. And we're like, "Oh, you guys are on the wrong path," kind of thing. That could have worked a lot better, so that by the time you get to it, even in The Last Jedi, you could have inserted him more directly, so that by the time you get to Rise, and they finally learn about it, well, we know, and even the line of "somehow he returned" could have been them just learning of it, like, "Holy crap!" But we already knew, and we've known for some time. And we know how that came about. That could have worked a lot better.
You know how to remedy all of this, and I've said this for years. The Last Jedi just needed a post-credit scene, where it's like somewhere in the unknown regions, like after Snoke's death,
Oh yeah.
because it ended really weirdly with Brimboy. But if they had just had a post-credit scene where it's like somewhere in the unknown regions, and you see some cloners, and then if Palpatine had spoken the "at last" line at the end of The Last Jedi, that would have been
Yeah.
cool.
There was for a time they were playing with this idea. They had this contest going on when you bought Last Jedi merchandise, and it was supposed to reveal a character at the very end when you bought all of the stuff, and they ended up changing it at the last minute to being Maz Kanata with a rocket pack. They turned it
Oh
into
yeah, that hologram.
and it was supposed to be the bad girl from Trevorrow's. Was it Saloni? Something like that. I can't remember what her name was now. It was some dumb name. It sounded like Solana. It was like there was like a Solana and a Saloni. It was like almost the same names in the script. The bad person. It was supposed to get like revealed that there was somebody else out there, and that Kylo wasn't the only evil person left. That there was more to it. And I never knew if they were supposed to like add it as a post-credits scene, or like how, or was it just going to be like, here's the character, you can just see them now. It was never really clear, but it actually fell apart with what was going on behind the scenes. So we never got that.
I want to say hi to Lunga. Haven't seen you in a long time, my friend. I know you've gone through some tough times with your mom and all of that. Been thinking about you, going through this difficulty with my dad. I certainly understand what you've gone through, and my thoughts are with you, my friend. I hope things are going better for you personally, and everything's working out. There's some additional things that came out this week. Kino, is he alive or not?
Yeah, he's alive.
Yeah, he's alive.
I
Too
say
many,
he's dead. I say he's
You
dead.
say he's doing that to be a contrarian. That's Rob's job.
Yeah, no, I mean, when I, the creator, obviously, Gilroy says I don't think he's dead, but if Gilroy has plans for him, cool. But when we look at the like narrative itself, the narrative has nothing but implication of imminent death for him. So it's like, and if he comes back in season 2, then I'm like, then cool. Otherwise, I'm like, why even say this? Every sign points to him dying. He can't swim. They're going to execute him for causing an insurrection that was successful. So, but maybe he's in season 2. Maybe, maybe we just see him there on Yavin. It's like, yep, I had floated.
I don't know. I'm more interested in Luthen.
Yeah.
I mean, Andy Serkis is great as Kino. I hope he survived. I hope we see him. But ultimately, do I care as much as someone like Luthen? No, absolutely not. What's he going to do? Like if he comes back?
I just sent you, Lunga. I just sent you a link on Discord, a DM. Send me the link to your article, and we'll take a look at it. Try to get some traffic.
Santa, it was his father, not his mother.
I saw that.
It reminds me of the time where, like,
ahead.
Santa said, like Seth showed up in the chat, and he's here today, and he was like, "Oh, hi, Santa," and Santa goes, "Oh, we have Seth here from Norway," and Seth's just like, "What the hell? I'm British."
I crossed lines. Yeah, there was somebody. Yeah.
Hey, Quintime is here from Argentina. Oh, sorry. I'm trying to make it look better.
It's terrible. So yeah, here's Lunga's article. He's writing for Twinfinite. So go check that out. Does Kino Loy escape the prison at Andor? Climactic end has many asking, does Kino Loy escape? And he has a theory. So I'm going to put that. Let me put it in the Discord, and if we could get somebody from our admin team who is here as well to post that in the chat and approve it, that would be great. And if Baymax, if you're in there, if you could grab that link and put it in the chat so that it'll show up in the feed.
I know what he's done. He's been making Death Star parts this whole time. Maybe he made a little tiny Death Star and he just flies out and like, pew, pew. No? Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh my goodness. Let's see. Does he escape? Here's a theory. If he escapes, let's see. Let's try to get to the theory posits that no, he didn't. Many ways his sacrifice.
The Empire built a prison in a salt sea because they are stupid. He just floated out.
Trying to just follow along here without going through the whole article. I have to check.
You know what the show needs, though, guys? Boba Fett.
Maybe Darth Vader too.
Definitely.
Yeah, maybe Palpatine. Maybe everyone. Mace Windu, the baby Ewok.
It'd be cool if like Cad Bane was in it and he was like, "Oh, I heard there was a fight here," and then he's there too, because he's just like a character in Star Wars. General Grievous. He's like, I got a new heart. I got a heart replacement surgery.
Well, no, what it needs is a hallway scene. You know, that's the thing that saved Rogue One, because otherwise you have no force.
Boring.
Right?
Boring with that.
Totally pointless movie until the very end when Darth Vader appears in the hallway scene. That's the whole movie right there. So what they should do?
They should also put Reva in it and then erase her from it, because this isn't a Reva show. This is an Andor show.
You know what I think is going to happen in the finale? Yoda is going to force lift Kino all the way from Dagobah onto land.
Oh my goodness, that's hilarious. Let me do something here. I need to promote our friend Risman to an admin here. So let me see if I can.
I'm amazed Risman is not an admin yet.
Risman, rise! Now you will henceforth shall be known as Risman. Same name. Sorry, that's just your name.
I don't know if you guys saw my video today, but
I did.
it looks
did.
like the Luthen Jedi connection theory is completely dead.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because it fits in. We saw Luthen with that hilt. What was that hilt? That cane? Was it actually?
I thought it was
It's
a
a knife.
dildo. Boing. No. Okay. The knife. Fine. I'll go with your knife theory, Meg.
An
Oh,
8
you're
incher.
killing me. You're killing me.
Boing.
Oh, let's see if I can promote.
This guy can't be a rebel mastermind. Look at him. He's just a weirdo pervert. Boing.
Add moderator. All right, Rizman. Rizman's now a moderator, and I can send him the link so he can post it in the chat, and we'll do that. So here we go.
Tubes is my man on the inside.
Oh,
I
you guys are
loved how
killing me.
Tubes reacted.
Tubes
It's
was like,
exactly how Tubes should react. It's like, what is this nonsense? I imagine that if you got on Saw Gerrera's Partisan's bad side, you would be absolutely screwed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I also like to imagine that Tony Gilroy wrote 2 tubes, and that when Luthen says the line, he's like, I can't say 2 tubes. He just called them tubes.
So
I love that he calls them tubes.
This is good because he does go by Moff Rizman. It's actually Mod Rizman. I mean, people
Mod
just
Rizman.
misunderstood it.
Grand
They
Mod.
misunderstood all this time.
Could he be the Grand Mod?
Yeah, he's the Grand Mod Wisman,
Mod?
not Grand Moff. People are just
Yeah,
confused by that. They hear it and they're like, "What? What? You mean?" Yeah, no. That's
Mod
so
Rizman.
there have been some rumors. One was that Kino was going to actually somehow be put into an experiment and made into Snoke.
No way.
And right, that's not happening. The other is that Luthen, it was a Jedi or a Sith in hiding, and that's how he got the red kyber blades coming out of his.
RF gaming channel.
Grandma Rizman.
Grandma Risman. Sorry. I'm sorry.
Oh dear.
So there's a lot of discussion about, and I saw in the chat we had, Kino be Snoke. That's one that's been going around. But our friend here, Lunga, was mentioning about the red kyber crystals that power his ship. Where did he get those kyber crystals? How did he?
I have a question.
He got them from a Jedi master called Tu Madre.
No. I have like a serious question. Like when you see him do that move, it looks like they like the beams extend off screen.
Right.
So I'm not even sure if I know this sounds up, but I think it's a consistent laser beam, like the ones on the clone drop ships that come down, the green ones that like hit bzzz and like burn through.
Oh,
and then turn off. And I think people are thinking, like, you don't hear lightsabers. It doesn't do that. And when I looked at the shot, I always saw it twice so far, but it doesn't look like it's lightsabers to me. It looks like it's just consistent laser beams. And people go, well, what's the difference, dummy? I think you could put your hand through a laser beam and it would burn it, but a lightsaber is solid. Like a lightsaber is a sword. Beep, beep, beep. Oh,
See,
no, can't.
I
pass
want to
through.
believe you, Jason, but I kind of disagree.
Okay.
They've made a big deal of the kyber thing. I think in theory it looks more like what you just said, the laser beams. But I think maybe what Tony had in mind was the lightsabers.
Okay. Yeah. And I'm just putting a theory out there too. Like I don't have I'm like looking at it though, and I'm like, is it that? Like, is it how we're taking it, or is it not? I don't know. Because we don't see we don't see like where it stops. Which
Do
is
you
right.
think we'll find out?
Weird.
Do you think they'll actually give us an answer?
I kind of don't think so. Unless he uses that move again, and Gilroy doesn't seem like the kind of guy to go back to it. I feel like Gilroy would just give him some new like Boba Fett style ship gimmicks.
I think we will find out, but it'll be in a visual guide. It'll be something like that.
5 years. It takes a long time for these other
Exactly.
the non-film
Exactly.
stuff to hit.
And it'll be one of these things that Meg reads on the post credits of one of her videos.
Yeah, and
where
I'm
she's
like,
using her phone, and the audio is completely different, and all that. You're
I
like,
like
who is
that.
this?
I feel like I'm hanging out with Meg, and we're just like,
I love
looking
it.
at Meg, and she's like, look at this Rogue One character. She looks cool. I'm like, she does look cool, Meg. but she can't hear me.
Yeah,
Weird.
no, it's completely awesome. It's some of my favorite stuff. There've been some hand reveals. You've been like, oh look, she's not a droid. She's got hands.
That was creepy.
Sandra was expecting a cybernetic part to just
Right,
sort of point out the various things in the book.
I thought honestly, I thought she had lobster hands this whole time. I was surprised.
Do we know many Star Wars characters with lobster hands?
Meg Scissor Punch. That's
That's
what they called it in college.
That was Max's favorite character.
It was. Max loves that character.
You guys.
I'm not even kidding.
But no, I think in a visual guide somewhere we will find out what powers his ship and those weapons specifically, and we'll find out. But you're absolutely right. We don't see the ends of those beams that come out. We don't know if they are Kyber fueled or, like you said, like the drop ships from the prequel era where they just burn a path. Yeah. We don't know.
The only reason I disagreed with Jason is because Cassian was like, what's powering this ship? I feel like that was a dead giveaway. And then the Coiti signet, the necklace.
Right.
Yes.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But I do feel like Jason has a point. Like if it was lightsabers, wouldn't the texture and the sound be very deliberate? But then again, the Death Star's laser beam was also Kyber, so
yeah, it doesn't do that.
No.
Yeah, and look, Lunga's right about the length of a saber. It's tuned into the saber itself, right? It's part of it. It's some of the components control the length of the
and
the
that is because of that moment that we talked about at the start of the show when the laser sword goes really long to hit the coon that's going to kill Padme because it didn't really track, and that's when they started saying that officially.
Oh, can we talk about Al Schuler's? This. I saw this rumor. Well, it's not a rumor; it's a theory, and I think it has substance in the sense of maybe the way they chose Luthen's last name. But the biggest downfall of the theory is that he would have been recognized on Coruscant by the Empire,
and he wouldn't be selling Jedi artifacts and all of that stuff in the store. That would be like, you know what? It's like appropriating a lie. You know what I mean? To be, of course, I wouldn't have said that if I was lying. It just doesn't make sense.
I'm going to put the spoiler warning up because I feel like we're going to drift into this one way or another. So if you guys don't want to hear spoilers, it's already out there in the internet. It's on the Twitter. It's on the YouTubes. All of that. The spoilers have been kind of shared. Some folks have already seen the screener of the finale, and some things that some of us have known for some time have leaked out. Right? They've leaked out. So one of them is this confirmation of the that hilt, potential hilt. It's not a hilt. It's not a lightsaber like Luthen's. You
know what I thought it was the first time? I thought it was a spyglass.
Spyglass? Oh,
yeah. Like cool. when the first time I watched it, because it was different than the one he had before, and so I thought when he had it, I thought it was like and they were like, "What are you doing? Trying to spy on us or something?" That's what I thought it was supposed to be, but it's not. It's not. But that's what I thought it was when the first time I saw it.
Dominic brings up a really good point. Could the artifacts be fake? Because they all look the same color, and they were not the same color in other Star Wars media.
Realest mofo in the galaxy. You're gonna think his stuff is fake? Come on. That's
how does it end up in other parts of the universe years later, like in Rebels, the World Between Worlds?
It's not only that, but like the Sith cube and the holocron that are in the back office, they're way too big.
Say when, Santa. How much Parmesan do you want on it?
They're just way too big. Right, I know that's what she said, but anyhow, the on the shelves, they're just they're not appropriately sized. So there is an argument to be made that a lot of these artifacts that he's been selling, Luthen's back room's just a 3D printer studio, right? Lunga's been back there printing all this stuff and painting it and putting it out for him. Darth Lunga is really Luthen's source for all of his high-end high-end fake merch.
I
That's-
mean,
See,
if he is selling to
Luthen
people in the
is
Senate, they're all dumb. He could just sell it to them. So it is true.
the thing with Luthen being a known Jedi doesn't make any sense to me because yeah, there have been Jedi in hiding, but he's literally on Coruscant most of the time. That's the worst way to get caught. That's literally where the Emperor and Masamida and all of those Imperials,
Hey, you
some of them
sound
who remember these prequel Jedi would have been around. If
dumb
he
right now.
was a Jedi, he would
It's a
have
wig.
pissed off to Dagobah or
Come on.
something.
Wig, Meg.
Yeah,
Nobody-
just a wig. It's like if
nobody
you had
knows
put a
who he
little
is.
head,
Come on,
a little
Meg.
toupee on, and then they were all like, "Oh, look, it's Yaddle."
Perhaps it could be real Avros. And this is, it's fun things to speculate. And as Lunga says, like if you read the novels, it is a good match for him. There is some viability in it. I just don't think it is. I don't think that that is not a lightsaber that he's been hiding like
Parmesan cheese.
Hagrid's wand in Harry Potter, right? It's not hidden in the hilt of the umbrella. I don't think that's the case. I don't think
It's not a
is.
boing.
Right.
You're sure. You're sure.
I don't think that it is.
But here's the thing, because you're saying he wasn't well known, and sorry, Lunga is saying he wasn't well known and he lived on another planet in the novel. But like, why come back to Coruscant at a time where the Empire is literally at its peak? It doesn't make sense. It's like Obi-Wan coming back or someone else.
Yeah,
I can't see it being the case. I think he knew a Jedi.
Yeah.
I think he has some investment in knowing what the Force is and knowing who the Jedi were. But I don't think he himself is a Jedi.
So this has been also like maybe his wife was a Jedi who was killed.
Yeah, I buy that theory. Absolutely.
Yeah.
What is this really, you guys? What?
It's a motivator. It's hard to say. I do look forward to seeing his story extended. And when we get to season 2, somebody was saying he needs to be the protagonist. Let's get off of Cassian and let's make the show about Luthen. Like
Darth Vader.
I disagree about that, but I do think we will learn more of Luthen's story through season 2, and some of these questions will be answered. I just don't think he is. I don't think he is a Jedi. I don't think he's the next Jedi. I don't think he's a Force sensitive. I don't think he's a Force user. I don't think any of that. At most, his wife was, and now she's dead, and he's doing
And
this
she
as
was a probable
that is-
librarian.
You can't have a wife though.
Ah,
And be,
But I
have a
think
wife
he
that
was
want.
married to a librarian,
You think-
that would be
think-
awesome.
or at least he knew her. I think the Jocasta theory is very probable. If he had to be related or married to any Jedi who was into artifacts and that kind of thing, it'd be Jocasta.
How old do you think he's supposed to be in the show, regardless of how old he is in real life? How old do you think he's supposed to be in the show? Do you have
question.
any idea?
Jocasta might be way too old.
Because it might be a Mrs. Robinson situation, though. You know,
Then
Could be.
a sibling. How about a sibling?
sibling. Yeah,
Well, here's the thing. I think the dead giveaway that he's not a Jedi was in that scene where he's speaking to Lani on the lower level of Coruscant. That impulse is not something most Jedi had. He speaks like a partisan. He talks like a rebel, a passionate rebel.
right.
He doesn't talk like a former Jedi or a current Force user. It's quite clear from that speech, I think. But I do think, and I put this in a theory video, that he knows Palpatine's secrets.
Yeah. Well, the 15-year-old equation is open to interpretation, and one is that he figures out that guy's the space Satan, and he killed the Jedi. You know what I mean? He's a Sith Lord, then he killed the Jedi, or it's the Death Star. But I don't think it's the Death Star. The reason why I don't think he's figured out that it's the Death Star is that that's the mystery they're all chasing down the whole time. So unless he makes a very big mistake and doesn't tell Saw Gerrera or anybody else and then dies, but keeping the Death Star stuff a secret you'd have to have a really good reason for it. Like you didn't want it out. You didn't want to expose a source that might get you the plan. So I have to think that next season we're going to move into the territory of getting Galen Erso lifted out. I think that's going to be the one of the projects that Luthen's going to take on next. So I think we'll learn if that's the equation. Then that's my guess. Married to a librarian.
That's Jocasta news to me.
That's you did it. You did it. He just Mike Porter to Mike Porter right there.
I kind of feel like this discussion is a product of how Disney have ruined the concept of the Force.
Mm-hmm. Mm. Well, I feel like if he was a Jedi, he would have. If you're a Jedi, you can Jedi mind trick people. You're not placing charges outside of a door. Kind of good on that front, right?
Good point.
But go on, Meg. Explain what you mean. Like how do you think it that connects? How do you think it ruins the Force, or how do you think they mess with the Force in a way that makes this kind of misinterpretation possible?
Because if they confirm he was a Jedi, we instantly have a million questions of the nature of Jedi training and what it is to be a Jedi. Because George Lucas was so black and white about it, forget the Clone Wars, forget things that came after the trilogies. Really, he was very black and white about what it is to be a Jedi. And the summary of that is what Yoda says in The Empire Strikes Back. It's all to do with training, all to do with controlling impulse, all to do with meditating and realizing that, we're not this crude matter, we're luminous beings, that kind of thing. Yeah. And they're just touching upon what I think is the worst concept in all of Star Wars, even though it's not canon, this idea of being a grey or an in-between.
Right.
Force user. And I can't stand that that's what they've made a lot of Jedi. I can't stand Ahsoka being like, I'm no Jedi or whatever. I just think those concepts just make it very anti-Star Wars, anti the purpose of the storytelling.
Well, you've raised a topic I'd like to discuss briefly, but I also want to address Lunga's point here. Part of hiding is not using the Force. And to go back to your very favorite novel of all time, the Darth Plagueis novel, he was constantly turning off the Force where he wasn't accessing it, touching it, had no access to it. And then he'd be like, oh, I think I need to turn it on. Turn the light switch on. See a little bit. Oh, okay. I got to go hide again and turn that light switch right back off. He was doing that all the time. Him and Plagueis, right? But
Luthen is literally blowing stuff up. Plagueis was he got a mask, a random politician with no backstory. And it's very similar to how Yoda didn't use the Force on Dagobah. It was way easier than, you know what, I'm going to poke the bear. Because Luthen wouldn't be poking the bear as he is if he was a Jedi, unless he walked away from the Order, he doesn't touch into the Force, and he's detached from it. Is that what Tony Gilroy would do? Absolutely not.
No,
I don't think so. I don't think that's in the cards for Luthen.
I don't think Tony Gilroy is very interested in Jedi at all. I don't think he really likes even is that into the concept of it. And for me, Luthen's outburst, his emotional outburst of anger, that would have different implications psychologically for somebody who is supposed to be a Force user. You know what I mean? When he loses his shit, which he does quite often, it'd be a different thing. That would be like a dark side guy. He's not that in control of his emotions and his fear. He's very scared.
You know what he is? He's a mirror to Saw Gerrera. Mm-hmm. He's if Saw Gerrera didn't have an impulsive nature, I think, and was more controlled. And I think something really telling in episode 11 is the realization Saw has, and that was the first time I've seen Saw Gerrera so scared since he lost Steela. And that's when he realizes Luthen literally has control of so many situations. He's got spies and, everywhere. He's everywhere. He's got eyes everywhere. And I think that was when Saw realized Luthen isn't the coward he said he was in episode 8. He just goes about things differently. And that's, it's not the way I could imagine a Force user going about it. Because why wouldn't Luthen care more about, I don't know, what Obi-Wan's doing on Tatooine and do that kind of thing? Wait for the New Hope. I honestly think this is all just a disguise to make us think that's where it's going. but it's more the fact that Luthen has an interest in he's very much like Thrawn, just a collector of art, a collector of history.
Right. And let me touch on the Gray Jedi thing a little bit, because I agree with you that it shouldn't be a thing. And I actually think that it is not a thing. What we have is an issue about who are Force users who are not a part of the Jedi Order, nor part of the Sith. Right? They're just Force users. What do we get with Ahsoka when she says, "I am no Jedi"? She's talking about being part of the Jedi Order, right? She walks away from the Jedi Order. We have other characters now in the High Republic who are like way seekers.
Maz
We have
Kanata.
different, yeah, Maz Kanata. We have even Guardians of the Whills, our friends there who believe in the Force, study the Force, the ways of the Force, who are not part of the Jedi Order. So I think there can be folks who don't subscribe to being a member of the Jedi Order. However, they are Force users. And Force powers are based on the way that you access them. Like Force choking somebody, right? So Luke Skywalker Force choking someone, was he using the dark side power or a light side power? I don't think that's the case at all. It has to do with where you are in accessing it, and he was using it from a light side place emotionally.
I disagree. I don't think that was the point of that scene. The point of that scene and the point of Return of the Jedi Luke, the reason why George removed the first scene that Luke was meant to appear in, where he's constructing the green lightsaber,
Right.
is so that when he enters Jabba's palace, he looks like Vader. They're trying to show you what Luke could become, what he's on track to becoming. The biggest moment of Return of the Jedi, it's like they work backwards in terms of Luke's arc, because he's impulsive at the start, and then at the end, when Emperor Palpatine says good and whatever, when Luke chops off Vader's arm, Luke throws his lightsaber away and says, "No, I'm a Jedi like my father before me." That was the biggest moment in all of Star Wars, because that's the moment that Luke becomes the true catalyst to the return of the Jedi. So I don't think George Lucas was thinking in terms of, well, is Luke choking them from the viewpoint of the light side or the dark side? If anything, it'd be the dark side, because he's trying to show this is what Luke could become when he force chokes the Gamorreans.
Yeah, choking is a defense.
You make a really
definitely-
strong argument, but I think we've explored that further in novels and in animated series and now live action series, where they are defining the Force this way. The Force is neither light nor dark. The Force is simply the Force. Somebody who's accessing the Force,
There's a
whether
dark
they're
side of the Force, though. There's not just the
maybe
Force.
they are.
There's a dark. There's literally called the dark side of that
Well,
interpretation.
I think
is
they're
always
moving away
screwy.
from that. I think they're moving away from
like
that.
Death Star 3, they're wrong again.
I do have a question for both of you, though. So let's say Luthen was a Jedi once, or he still is. How does that benefit the story?
Because it's cool.
Well, yeah, I don't.
As you say, it's
Yeah,
superficial.
It's stupid.
It is. It is.
Tony
I wanna
Gilroy
bring
is
up-
interested in revolutions, and he's modeling his characters after characters in history that he's read in all of his studies about revolutions. And there's never one where one was a secret Satanist with Satan power and that kind of, or a Jedi. You know what I mean? There's no supernatural aspects to these stories and what he's interested in. He's not going to take his most important new character and make him a space wizard. It's completely off the table. It was a fun theory to examine. There were clues to look at, and then they got taken down, they got taken apart, and even without the clues, it still didn't make sense. So it just
Well, who are the
is.
Night Sisters? Right? Just as an example, who are the Night Sisters? Are they Sith?
They're dark side Force users.
Right, they're
They
not
use the
Sith.
No, but they use the
Right?
dark side of the Force. Yeah, Dark
It's
side
where they're.
The
It's
dark
how they're
side doesn't mean
accessing.
Sith, because the Inquisitors weren't Sith either.
Right. And so it's how you're accessing the Force. The Force is neither light nor dark. The Force is simply
No, it
the
is.
Force. It's how
There's a
you
dark-
access it.
there's a dark side of the Force, and there's a light side of the Force.
It's
That's
like a
how you
spectrum,
access it.
but there's no middle.
I think it's how you access it,
Sorry.
not how you
Well,
I
not
just said-
itself.
Then why
I
would there
just
be
said
a
something that
cave?
contradicts.
But
Yeah, I know.
there's a cave that's strong on the dark side. On Dagobah, there's a dark side of the Force. There just is. Now you can make an immoral argument about how the user uses it and what it means. But at the end of the day, if you're doing something dark, you're accessing the dark side of the Force. I mean, it just, like I said, some of these authors don't know what they're. I love Ryan Johnson. He doesn't understand what balance of the Force means. Just doesn't. He has it wrong. They get
It's
the stuff
interesting
wrong
you say
sometimes.
that, Jason,
Mhm.
and I think you're absolutely right because you can do a dark deed using the dark side and not be a dark side Force user. Luke thrashing at Vader's arm was tapping into the dark side. Anakin killing those Tusken Raiders was using the dark side,
Right.
but it doesn't invalidate the times they use the light side of the Force.
True.
And this is emotional evolution. This is what I'm
Yeah.
describing as well. This is what I kind of subscribe to, right? It's the dark side or light side of intent. There's no dark side ability. Like Force lightning is not dark side ability.
But look at
lightning.
the impulse. I mean, if we want, I mean, this is fake, so we could argue it till the cows come home to some extent. But when you go and something makes you angry, and you're imagining the impulse, and you imagine when you pull into this imaginary force to this thing, you don't, and you want to cut off the Tusken Raider's head. You're not imagining going into the serene place where you're lifting up a ship out of a bog. You're going completely to this emotional, like charged kind of thing. So it's like the one argument requires complete ambivalence. I am ambivalent, and I'm just using this thing to pick up a boulder and drop it on children. I'm ambivalent, and I'm using a boulder to remove it so the children can go about their path. But that's not how these stories work. These stories work with I am so very mad at you, or I'm saving my friends. That's just how it's how. So the intent does matter, but the intent pulls from a place, and you can't deny that. I think that's my take anyway.
So we're going to move on from this because I do want to talk about the rest of the spoilers for what's coming while we've got the spoiler warning on. But
is Meg downtown to spoiler town now? I'm kind of
yeah.
Sure.
I gave in.
That's my girl. One of us. Do it.
The Chimera talk about the Force lightning is caused by unleashing your anger. There's cases, again, it goes back to Legends where that wasn't the case. They could use the Force lightning.
Legends, not
different colors. Yeah,
not in the history books, sir.
Not truly intent. So anyway, I want to move off of it. It is a good discussion, but there are a couple other things that in the spoilery territory. One of them is this idea. There is a post-credit scene. There is a post-credit scene coming in episode 11 that will
12.
Sorry, 12. Yeah, episode 12.
Santa, come on, you should know this, bud.
On the predictions, if you want to put there will be a post-credit scene as your bonus question, that's a good one. We'll give you the point. But the post-credit scene confirms a little bit about what they were doing in the prison. What are those parts being used for? Where are they going?
It was hot. What they were doing in the prison.
No.
You want an extra pack of smokes? Want some extra top ramen from the commissary?
And there are some photos posted in Meg's Discord under the Andor spoiler channel that you can see some of the photos from the final episode, from episode 12. So
Santa, can I bring up something that I just got tagged in? So this is a theory. This person thinks that Clea might be one of Padme's handmaidens.
Oh, now that's better than Clea being.
I quite like that theory.
Being Leia, right?
Yeah.
There were, and you I think thoroughly debunked that one this week as well. That Clea is not Leia. It doesn't line up at all. It rhymes, but it's not the case. However, being a handmaiden could be possible. I like it. I thought Jason was going to say something, then he just went.
I was thinking about it. I'm like, they do have the, I mean, her name is like Clea, but they're all like Rabbe, Irrite, Scratche, Padme. You know what I mean?
True.
A little gay. They all have like names like that, and there's no like Clea. So I'm gonna say no. If you want to be one of the sisters, you got to have a rhyming name. You're out. She's out.
She's out.
But in my opinion, cute enough to be one. Cute enough to be one.
I like it. Again, yeah, scratch A. Other spoilers from the episode.
Yes.
Yeah.
You want to touch on it based on any of those?
There's no Krennic.
No Krennic, and shocking. I know this is foundational. Boba Fett is not in it.
I put out what's up with Dedra and Cyril Karn yesterday, and that like we're gonna have this scene where the shit starts to go down on Ferrix, and the crowd begins to gather around Dedra, and they're mobbing her, and then Cyril comes in, has this like face obscured and stuff, and like with a gun and like takes her out, and I think it's like we're supposed to think like he's gonna kill her, and then he's like, "It's me. It's someone who loves you." That's kind of like the gist of it, and they kind of have like their moment, and it's sort of like implied that they're gonna space get it on,
but they don't.
They don't, but it's implied. So next season they might have an apartment together. We might just jump ahead, and now they live in it. He's doing the dishes for her, and he's just like, "This needs to be cleaned," and he's like cleaning it for her, like. That's most likely how it's going to go for them.
Sure. Right. So we are going to see a reunion between Dedra and Cyril. Expect that. Yeah. What else do we have in the spoilers before we move off the topic?
Those spider droids replace the prisoners on Arcana 5.
Spider droids.
Oh, yeah. Deidre's going to move into Cyril's mom's flat. There you
go.
Mom, I got a girlfriend. I'm moving her in. Yeah.
It would be kind of cool. I could kind of see them like at dinner for the first time, and about 20 minutes in, Dedra's just like, you're a real bitch. That would happen. It would happen. Dedra would lose it on her, like on Edie, after about 20 minutes, I say.
If Krennic doesn't appear next season, it's very possible he could be in Bad Batch. The timeline, again, Meg and I have both mentioned this several times. There are a couple of books, Rebels Rising and the other one. What is it, Meg? The other book?
Catalyst.
Catalyst. Rebels Rising and Catalyst that highly encourage you guys, if you're looking for some novels to read, where should I start? It's a question we get all the time. Like, hey, I've not tried this reading the novels thing. Where should I start? Go ahead and check out Catalyst. Check out Rebels Rising. It fits right into the timeline. It kind of gives you some context where we could see Krennic or we could see.
I'm just going to throw it out there. I don't know this for certain, but I'm going to bet you there's a 99.9% chance with Andor being in production, with the season 2 having not been written yet, he's probably one of the characters you're not allowed to touch. Because he could play into the Andor TV show. They wouldn't want contradictions, massive ones arising at the same time. So I'm going to bet you we won't see anything to Krennic until Gilroy is out of the picture. If he's not in it, that is.
Yeah. Gotcha.
And also, why isn't Gideon in this show? Because he's an ISB agent at this time.
Yeah.
Or is he?
It'd be great to
lying.
Well,
it's on assignment.
He's
undercover. But he's on Mandalore pretending to be a Mandalorian.
Whether they show up in Andor season 2 or not, both of those books line up with this timeline really well, as does Rebels, the animated series. all of those overlap. And if you wanted to just jump into the story to get more context of what's going on in the galaxy,
Right.
those are great things to turn to. They're absolutely perfect to turn
Yeah,
to.
Catalyst is one of the best Star Wars books ever written.
They're so good, so good. So want to encourage that.
Or one of the most relevant books, I should say. Maybe not the best written. I don't know, but one of the most relevant books ever written.
Absolutely relevant. Absolutely relevant.
One of my headcanons is that one of the ISB agents shown in the comics, called Officer Barsha, is actually Gideon's real name. Because we don't see his face, we're going to find out in the Hidden Empire, but they just show his shadow and he's got the same hair and everything.
Yeah, that would make sense. I mean, unless his name is like Crazy Gideon. Sorry, we used to have a store called Crazy Gideon's with these crazy ads in LA. The Crazy Gideons. So if you're not from LA, that joke made no sense. I apologize.
Hi, Star Force One.
Hey, Star Force One. Good to see you. There's a couple other things. Andor season 1, episodes 1 and 2 are going to be broadcast on other services: ABC, FX, Freeform, and Hulu. That's going to start next week, and it coincides with the finale. So anybody who wants to, like this, kind of try to reach a broader audience, broader appeal to folks who maybe aren't following it in Disney Plus. They don't have their Disney Plus subscription. They get them on the first 2 and tell them to go over to Disney Plus to catch it. Maybe they put a little promo for the holidays. You can get 3 months for, $15 or something like that. Who knows? But that came out this last week as well, and that's something that is new. We've not seen Disney do this on any other project, be it Marvel, Disney,
because none of that content
or Star
fits
Wars.
those other venues. Like this is closer to A Handmaid's Tale than Captain America, the TV show. So it's like that. That's why I think they're just trying to pull that.
Well,
idea.
I might argue that Miss Marvel it doesn't have that. Like it could fit on ABC.
I mean, is it golden age of television? Is it House of Cards? If it can't sit next to House of Cards and Game of Thrones, then it's not what the model though of like Hulu and FX and ABC. Yeah, ABC is just exposure.
I think so.
I honestly don't know what Freeform is.
It
used to have a different title. Trying to remember what
Isn't Freeform those type of pillows that have like those they remember you're sleeping?
Mike Lindell, the pillow guy.
Foam. Never mind.
Memory foam.
And as brought up in here by Matt and Seth and others, there is a narrative. It was ABC Family. Freeform used to be ABC Family, and they renamed it.
I think Baymax put some breaking news in. I heard about this too. Leader is the guest on this week's Friday Night Tights. They're ideologically aligned, so.
Anyway, is it desperation? Is this Disney Plus is like, we spent way too much money making Andor, nobody's watching it. Break glass. Put this on other, right? In case of emergency, break glass, pull out the fire hose and try to put out the fire. Are they trying to fix the problem? They trying to salvage Andor? What do you think?
Maybe salvage is the wrong word.
I think
Maybe
it's
just
a lot.
Increase viewership.
Yeah, it's about growing the show. They like to make it sound like all of like the Disney executives are like that boardroom in RoboCop, and like they're all like, crazy and ready to fight, and like we're gonna jump out the window if it doesn't work, and that kind of stuff. And it's just like it's not really like they're just being sort of pragmatic and dynamic with the fact that they have a monopoly and that they have all of these various platforms, and they do need to grow the show. Is it a sign that if the show isn't the biggest Disney Plus show of all time? 100%. Yeah, that's what it is. But is it also an opportunity to go and to show a bunch of various non-Disney Plus subscribers that there's shows like this on Disney Plus, and maybe you should go there and watch the rest of it? That's what they're going for. People could criticize if it's successful or not or whatever. I don't care, but it's just it's just not that. It's not that. This isn't wrestling. This is like business, and they make it sound like it's wrestling. It's really stupid.
Well, I mean, this happens all the time where they try to bring like high school drama into corporate America. Oh, they parked in my space, and now I'm mad, and now...
Unless it's Twitter. If it's Twitter, then it's on. If it's Twitter, it's on. Because that sounds great.
I think this is a good chance to maybe reach some folks who aren't Star Wars fans who are like, nah, I'm not into whole space wizards and pew pew. That's not my thing. So you show them a couple of episodes.
You convinced?
So you show a couple episodes of Andor, and people are like, oh, wait, maybe I will go check it out. Or Star Wars fans who have it, maybe had some bad experience with Boba Fett or Kenobi
and if
or
this
whatever.
works, this might be the start of the new norm.
I think so too. I think that we might see them do this with other shows as they come out. Right towards the finale, show the first couple of episodes and see if you can get viewership up. And this becomes
Sorry.
No, this is a good time to measure that metric, right? So we put these out at the end of November, and do we see subscriptions bump out of it, right? And it becomes a measurable kind of thing. Go ahead, Meg.
I think they might actually follow that model if it works. But just to put on a conspiracy hat, the Star Wars Celebration in London is the week before Mando Season 3 finale. Do you think there might be like a private viewing for those in attendance?
Probably.
I don't know.
Like an early viewing?
You get a lot of leaks coming out of there. You're going to end up with pirated videos on somebody's cell phone behind somebody else's head and all that kind of thing.
Never stopped them before.
I know. I don't know. It's a good question. I don't know if they will.
I mean, we could also see the end of the Mandalorian airing on Disney Plus to air with or to coincide with Celebration if they do decide to do that. They may not have decided if they're going to do it or not yet. It might have to do with what they're going to have, what they can do at Celebration, like what they need. I would imagine if they need it, they would do it. If they need like a good capstone to Celebration or the big event to make it seem like it was worthwhile. If for some reason, the next Patty Jenkins things falls through and there's just nothing to talk about other than, you know what I mean? Like TV shows are midway in production that they can't talk about. That might be their in case of emergency break glass kind of event for Celebration.
Well, I think Baymax
Celebration for some very big things. I mean,
yeah,
I know collectively we've heard a few things, but I'm sure they're going to also promote Skeleton Crew like hell during that time period, because that's a show that's going to come out after Celebration at some stage. And I imagine Ahsoka's probably going to be the winter release.
And look, I know we're going really long today, but there's this other article I wanted to bring up today to talk about. Screen Rant put this out yesterday, and
must be real then.
Well, Screen Rant's on and off. It's on the edge, but
on and off it's meds. Sorry,
some of this is really well documented. It's not like speculation, anything like that. It primarily comes off of a new comic that's been released or is been previewed. It's coming out. Kevin Scott is one of the authors of it. It says, so just to go through the article, it says, in a new look back at Star Wars history, the Death Star has been redefined as a weapon against the Force itself. It says, long ago in forgotten times when the Sith and Jedi fought for control of the galaxy, weapons there were of an unimaginable power And in the let's get here, powered by kyber crystals. Palpatine intended his empire to rule through fear. Nothing new there. Focused on the development of the Death Star, and go back to Rogue One, and used Galen Erso to discovered how to tap into the power of kyber. And again, if you read those books, they actually create some synthetic kyber as well that they start to experiment with. But the Empire began to scour the galaxy looking for kyber deposits, and they found on Jedha, right? It was a sacred moon. It was unusually rich in kyber. The Empire plundered the moon, not only to destroy it with the Death Star when they feared secrets of the super weapon had been leaked. The end of Rogue One, right? They shoot it. It doesn't blow up like
Alderaan. Yeah, Luke
right?
goes
But
there.
it does,
Luke goes there in the comics years after, right?
Yeah. It says Lucasfilm's the High Republic Transmedia Initiative stepped back into time 350 years ago. And then, according to Star Wars, The High Republic #2 by Kevin Scott and Ario Anindito, Jedha was once a Jedi planet, the Jedi planet, known as the Kyber Heart of the Galaxy. This sacred moon was revered by every Force tradition and seems to have been the home of the Wills.
Those target's hearts are made of kyber. No, that's what he says in Rogue One.
Yeah, and that this is the home of the Wills. This is a new revelation, the best I know. I've not heard that the Wills resided on Jedha.
Well, no, it's not. It's new. It's not new. They're the guardians of the Wills.
Right.
I think that was
the
the
Guardians,
visual guide as well.
right? But this is the home of the Wills themselves, not the guardians of the Wills, but the Wills.
I think that's wrong. I don't think the Wills literally exist on a physical plane.
Well, that's again, he's saying in this High Republic #2. We'll have to read it to see exactly, but it says the mysterious beings envisioned with one of the Force, the revelation. So this is they're talking about the mysterious beings, the home of the Wills, right?
Yeah.
Being on Jedha. Suggests the Empire's actions on Jedha should be seen an attack on the Force itself. And then the
So it's
Sith along-
symbolic.
Yeah. So the bleeding of kyber crystals, and then according to Catalyst, which we've recommended, it says Galen Erso found a way to replicate bleeding with science. Galen was not a religious man. He had no real understanding of the sacrilege he was committing. Even worse, the Empire stripped the temples of Jedha of all their kyber artifacts and mined all the kyber they could from the temple moon. They turned to place of beauty into power source, greatest super weapon. And then we talk about Rogue One again. While the dark side is often treated as an essential part of the Force, the Sith is regrettable adherence. The reveal shows that the dark side did active harm to the larger Force, not just the light side in Jedha. The desecration of and destruction of Jedha
That would be Palpatine hurting himself.
is a crime on Palpatine's behalf, showing his larger mission over Star Wars saga had nothing to do with his vision for the Force, was actually about his own personal supremacy. So, look for this Star Wars #2 with Kevin Scott and High Republic #2.
Is some
Star
of
Wars
that
High
wrong,
Republic.
though? I feel like some of that was wrong.
Well, we got to
No.
read the book and see what they're pulling from it. Again, this is Screen Rant, and they're revealing some things from there, and then they're putting some pieces together. They're adding their own twist to it. So I'm curious to read this novel and see or this comic and see. I think the only thing that is truly pulled from that was this bit here, and I'm curious how much of this is actually in the comic when it talks about it was the Jedi planet known as the Kyber Heart of the Galaxy, and was home of the Wills.
Well, also like it's not like Palpatine was like, "Hey guys, go test it on Jedha." The weapon. I don't even know if Palpatine even is involved, other than let me know how the test goes. Thanks, bitch. Bye. You know what I mean? It's not really clear what that is.
Yeah.
So
I don't buy that Palpatine had a personal investment, because you can retcon anything. You could be like, well, the real reason Tarkin decided to test the weapon on Alderaan was because Bail Organa owed Palpatine some money. It's the same sort of logic. It doesn't really make much sense.
Yeah, there's too many circumstantial. It's a bunch of circumstantial evidence being put together into a theory. That's a theory. It could be valid, but it doesn't seem. It seems like there's a lot of potential for that just to fall apart. More potential for it to fall apart than to be correct.
But I'm curious to read the comic.
Yeah,
I want to see how much of it's in there, how much of it Screen Rant is forcing into it. Much like you go back to the comics where you see Darth Vader seeing all of those ships being built by Palpatine years before, and why doesn't Anakin reveal that? Like, there's a bunch of story from the High Republic or from these comics that I think that was in a Darth Vader comic where you see him actually go and see all of these destroyers being built. So I'm curious about it. I'm curious. It's this article came out yesterday. High Republic #2 with Kevin Scott. I love Kevin Scott. He's a great writer. And his comics and novels are fantastic. So I'm looking forward to seeing that.
I don't know. Maybe Palpatine was just trying to make Jeddah great again.
Oh my goodness. Star Force One says, I've got that High Republic comic open. What word am I scanning for? You're looking for Jeddah and the what's it say? Kyber Heart of the Galaxy and the Wills. It's this bit here, Star Force One.
And there's a wills, there's a way.
It says Jeddah was once the
Jedi
Willis? Planet, the Kyber Heart of the Galaxy,
Some sort of will.
revered by every Force tradition, and seems to have been the home of the Wills.
Will they or won't they?
Is that part of it?
Sorry.
So that's it.
Sorry, we can't help ourselves.
I know. I'm just like, I
tried.
Oh, you guys are great. We have a Mike Porter dad joke while he looks that up. Matt Risman. It definitely ended up being a willful destruction. Mike Porter dad joke. I like this one today. It's really good. Why did the Pike Syndicate always win the chili contests?
Spicy?
Because they all knew how to spice it up. Exactly.
Wow. I've been there before.
So good. So good. Star Force One's looking up the reference in the comic. He's got it open now. Anything else you guys want to cover that I've skipped today? I know we've talked a long time. That's it.
I think we might have done it all.
I think we've done it all. Jason, are you doing a live stream with Rob later?
I am at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
All right, 4 p.m. Eastern, 9 over in Meg's neck of the woods. You guys go over to Making Star Wars, the Making Star Wars show, makingstarwars.net, and be sure you support Bespin. Buy him a coffee. You know,
throw it in his face. Buy it and throw it in his face if you want. That's cool.
Or whatever. You know, there you go. Yeah. He says, Star Force One says, can't see much in there. They see like a vision of Palpatine on Jeddah. And the article might be talking it up a bit. Well, like Screen Rant's never done that. So let's,
In 15 minutes, there's a LoFi mix dropping on my second channel.
Oh, there we go. So, and this LoFi mix is a mix of what?
The Mandalorian, Chapter 2, The Child.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Any images of Wookiee defecating while I listen to it?
No, but there is. I can't say that. Never mind. I can't say that.
Cool. Cool then, I guess. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
All right. Well, you guys, thanks for hanging out with me again today. You're the best.
Thank you, Steve.
And I've got to go take care of some issues going on in life. Knuckleheads.
Dumb life. Life is dumb.
Yeah.
Star Wars is fun.
I know. Stupid things going on. This is a lot more fun. Hanging out with you guys, I enjoy. So you guys have a great day. I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend. And go check out Making Star Wars. And be sure to subscribe to Meg's second channel, Meg's Cantina. Make sure you do all those things. All right. So thank you all.
Bulls.
All
Bye,
right.
Meg.
Until next time, everybody. Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas. And may the force be with you always. Bye-bye.
Hot dang! Talking through the news from a galaxy far away. Toys and book reviews, positivity all the way. Come and join the fun, subscribe and like away. Movie news and show reviews, it's like Christmas every day. Oh, Star Wars Santa, Star Wars Santa, the Star Wars Santa show. Oh, what fun it is to chat on the Star Wars Santa show. Oh, Star Wars Santa, Star Wars Santa, the Star Wars Santa show. Oh, what fun it is to chat on the Star Wars Santa show. Ho, 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 ho. Hot damn, ladies and gentlemen, you're in for a treat tonight on the Star Wars Santa show. He can feel your presence. Join the chat. Listen up and have some fun with Star Wars Santa.
I see it, Wayne. Good work.
Talking through